Hello, everyone. So you know that it's this time where we're looking at past guests and wondering how they've broken fear since the last time we've seen them, and then what's happening now and how much freedom have they found. Now today you'll see I've got two beautiful guests, right? And you know Josh because we did a whole event with him. No, it's nearly a year ago. And of course, Devin. Devin was behind the scenes at that time, but he was also part of the event. But we've also seen Devin quite a few times on the show. And today, there's a bit of a collaboration between the two of them. But that's all part of the fun. So let the games begin. Hello, Josh. How are you today?
Oh, today is a very exciting day. I'm making some changes just before I turn 40. And I've sold a little piece of land. I'm going to use that to plant seeds in other places and to sprout something new. So I think it's glorious. I might buy that little piece of beach that you're on right there, Carina. That looks glorious.
It is. It's beautiful, right? And
I don't
wow,
know how you found it.
That's a top secret. I'm not telling you my secrets.
They'll come out. I believe they'll come out in this conversation. All our secrets will come out. We're an open book.
That's what it's all about.
You know it. Authenticity, drop those walls and smash those holes. But that's a secret. That's a secret.
That's exactly what fear is all about, right? So congratulations on your new planting, and we'll probably speak more about that in the future. I love these conversations. And then, of course, there's Devin. Now, we all know Devin, and I'll have all the our previous shows and episodes in the description box. And we've also got the awesome Devin. How are you today, Devin?
I'm doing basically as good as it gets, and that's kind of what I said last time. I think life's amazing. Sometimes I have a challenge, but I'm able to better and better deal with these challenges to get me to the point where it's amazing a lot more often. Than usual. So life is really good.
Well, that's good. I love the energy in the room. Well, in the 3 rooms today. So tell me about. Tell me about Devin. Is there any fear that you've broken since the last time we spoke, which was probably last year sometime?
Yeah, and it's a continuous process. Do you want to know like the specific details or?
Oh yes, just a short detail, like you've something specific that has made an impact on your life.
Okay. Well, let me just review a couple that I could talk about. Physical, relational, spiritual. I mean, man, there's challenges, but when it comes to fear, I think the initial stage of the challenges are being afraid. For instance, right now I am not going to a specific church. I do follow some. I do listen to podcasts. I've got a strong personal devotion to God. But in the past, I felt like, oh, if I'm not going to church, I'm not going to be obeying God. I'm not going to be doing the necessary things like giving my time, my attention, all that, and it was like I was not out of. It was like I was afraid that I was out of God's will by not being a part of affiliated with a certain church. I'm not that mindset.
Sorry, Devin. I'm going to stop you for a moment because I think I don't hear you, and I think can you hear me?
Yeah,
and I can hear.
Okay. Sorry. All right. Sorry about that. I just lost you for a moment. Okay, carry on.
And I didn't mean to all of a sudden start off with spiritual. I was like all the dimensions of my life. I do feel like the spiritual component is one that I focus on more now than ever before in my life. But at one time I was afraid that, I'm not affiliated with a church. It's not that I'm going to go to hell. It's that I'm going to lose the blessing. All these nice things that are happening for me, all these blessings, financial, relational, health. I'm not in church. I'm start losing it. And that fear was definitely taken away by sorry. So so brothers, take it away. I'm trying to get back. But I do not have that fear anymore.
Okay, well, that's a big one, right? Because you got over it, and you managed to get to the next level almost. What do you think? What do you think, Josh?
I think it's all about levels. Yeah, the new level, new devil. And it's always like this new kind of quest. And it's like when we overcome our way of seeing God, or the way that like he was going to reward us based on certain things that we had to do, and we step into a new relationship with God, well, that's nice and cozy for a little bit. And then guess what? He's going to expand us beyond that. He's going to expand us beyond that. So like, I think it's awesome, man, that you've been able to find your spirituality in a way that's more and more robust and sustaining. You said it's become more and more a central aspect of your life instead of less and less. And so I think it's really cool that we're never stagnant as humans. We're always expanding, but with each of those expansions comes growth pains, comes cracks, like it's never comfortable. So I think, congrats, dude. I think it's great. I'm on a very similar spiritual journey, as you know, and we collaborate on that kind of stuff. What do you think, Carina?
I think it's beautiful, because it's always like this kind of thing is where we always have that fear of judgment, right? You know, we have to do certain things because we're conditioned to do certain things. And if we don't do this and this and this, well, we might go to hell or whatever it is. And it's so beautiful to be able to see that there are different ways. There are other perceptions that, you know, we can do other things and still expand our spirituality, like you said, and still connect to God in a more profound way. So I love it, Devin. So congratulations on that one. Well, what about now? I'm going to throw it back to you, Josh. What about you? What have you broken? Because I mean, you are speaking about you did speak about selling your property and all that. Is there anything else, any fear that you have gone through since the last time we spoke?
Oh, which is every day, all day. Yeah, it's been like a year. Well, yeah, almost a year now. Every day, all day, there's little fears. Well, even the property, like the financial fear, man, that's such a big deal in life. It's like, where's the money going to come from? That's so lame. But hey, like we're talking about spirituality, Jesus sets that up as the one thing that could compete with God for the glory in your life is money. Like he knows that we need it, but what are we going to chase? Like, are we going to chase the money, or are we going to chase something beyond the money? And so that's kind of been the struggle within my life. I mean, there's been a number of them, but I'll talk about, I guess, the money thing, and then I'll talk about finding a new way to see like my own mind. And so with the money thing, like I was trying to play the stock market because I see patterns, you see, the neurodiverse gifts. I see what's going to come in the future. And my brother's the same way. And I do believe that like amongst the body of Christ, which is what we all are, there are prophetic gifts. And I can predict things that are going to happen in the stock market. Like a lot of the times in my dreams, I'll have a dream about a stock and then it will do exactly what I expect it to do. But I've had so much of that in my head, trying to just pay the bills and kind of like, you know, provide for the family and stuff, that I found myself very distant from the actual world. There was always like a screen or like a layer of blurry thoughts. I posted this one meme about a guy walking through the forest, and in a little thought bubble, he just has a bunch of different, like his phone notifications and the stock market and all that. And then there's a dog walking through the forest, and his mind is just completely empty. And he's just seeing the forest. So it's mindful, your mind is full, versus being mindful. And so I think what God has shown me recently, literally like 3 days ago, and I keep on harping on about this verse, is a particular verse that says, trust in the Lord with all your understanding and lean not on your own understanding. Submit to him and he will make your paths straight. So it's like, if you just completely trust God and not try to figure everything out yourself, but every time he gives you this little nudging, do this, you got to follow through that. You got to submit your ways to him and he'll make your path straight. And I found, I mean, I don't expect it to always work out gloriously in the short term, but in the long term, as I'm able to be more and more present and not lean on my own understanding of the patterns and of all the kind of noise within my life, I'm able to be more present, and fog is clearing a little bit, which is huge because otherwise I'm kind of missing life. So I was able to break the fear that I'm not going to pull it off. by not even trying, not just relaxing and just taking one step at a time. And a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Or how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So I'm just chowing that elephant one bite at a time. God tells me to add some ketchup, I add ketchup. But besides that, life's become pretty simple. And I'd love to hear also from you, Carina, like what resonates there and how you've broken fear in your life.
It's quite interesting how I'm smiling because that's exactly where I've been. There's always like all these things and all these projects, and it's all of a sudden it's like I'm getting this overwhelmed, just fatigue almost of everything.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and I just said as well, it's enough. Just I'm listening, and that's the way it is. It's one step at a time, and eating the elephant one bite at a time. Exactly what you're saying, because by trying to control everything, I'm controlling nothing. And everything's just falling apart because of that. Like we hold on so tight. And we kill the bird instead of letting it go and giving it a chance to come back. And it's also that for me, it's been a big thing about what if it doesn't come back? Well, there might be a bigger bird or a better bird that comes back because that's the way it's meant to be. So it's been a lot about releasing and just like, and of course the money thing's a big thing as well. It's always that constant battle, right?
It is like what I would like to push it to the limit. Like I would like to see what happens if you just completely didn't worry about money and you just did the next thing after the next thing. Because I mean, like we talk about this, or like as Jesus followers, we say, hey, Jesus said, don't worry at all. And he told the rich guy, sell your possessions and come follow me. But how many Christians are really doing that? Like, would God provide over and over and over? And what kind of life would he provide for us? Because we're so conditioned into chasing the illusion, but the illusion is just that. It's just chasing the wind. So, I mean, I've got a wife and kids. Maybe that's my excuse not to just completely give up everything and go with it. But I mean, what do you reckon, Devin? What do you think would happen if someone just gave up everything?
Well, there's an element of self-preservation that's in all of us, like every living being. Even, I mean, I was gonna save it for later, but I know a little bit about suicide and suicide attempt and dealing with the consequences, and I think that like suicide is actually, it's like going against like the actual law of nature of self-preservation, and that's why it's so. That's one. Who am I? But that's why it's very difficult to accomplish. But when someone is like fully immersed in the moment, like in Zen, in the now, like in every little thing, which is great. I mean, there's freedom. You're not worrying. You're not worrying. You're not care about the future outcome. But in sense, we won't make decisions like, okay, I'm going to follow this little bug as it stays Zen, concentrating on this bug, and there's huge like cliff or train or something that's going to like hurt me really bad. There's something inside me that's going to go, okay, maybe I shouldn't stay so focused on this little wing of, I don't know why I chose this, I don't know, but a ladybug or something like that. When it's fun to get so immersed in nature and creation, but there's an order. There's a natural order. For us to, it's okay. We need to worry. We need to practice. These are age-old instincts, like that preserve our life, and so we need to follow those. It's almost like the stress response. People come and they in the old days they saw an animal, they either fight the animal or they run away, and there's no more threat. Nowadays, we don't have animals. We've got internet and we've got money. We got bills. We got threats. Where after we see them, they don't just run away, or they're always there, and so we have to learn how to counter that. They call that the relaxation response, and that's actually where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness and the relaxation response are one of the same thing. It was invented like in the 70s, and it's proven to work. It's proven to have all these health benefits. So I would say for me, like my way of being in the moment and not having that stress is practicing the relaxation response. That's for me. That's what I found for me. And also, what helped is not being so stuck on one way of thinking. Kind of like what you were saying, Josh. But my definition would be, instead of being set on one way of thinking, being open to new perspectives. Well, and for me, that's where spirituality comes in. Open to God's guidance, a new way of seeing and doing. I mean, yeah, you got to follow certain principles, but those are the things that have helped me through the difficult and the fear. Continue to help me through the fear, because the fear is going to come, and it's just how am I going to overcome it?
Okay, yes, that's cool. I mean, this is break fear, right? So for me, I love that. Thank you, Devin. But I'm going to just take it to a step. As you were talking, I was thinking about, what if you actually say, okay, this is it. I am doing what you said, Josh. Is okay. I'm going to trust. I'm going to trust that everything will work out perfectly. Okay, and just live one day at a time and live within the present moment and see what happens. Now, I don't know how that will work, okay? And maybe it'll be a good test for a month. Who knows? But that's just something I'm just throwing out. And maybe I'll test it, and maybe we'll do a podcast about that. But the difference for me and with you, Josh, is that I'm single, I'm alone, I can basically do whatever I want to do. You've got more responsibilities, which makes it almost a bit difficult to do that, right?
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I'm trying to think about it. Is there a fundamental difference? Like, I think, and obviously there is logistically, but I'm kind of thinking in terms of the created order. What on earth are we doing here? Like, what is all this? Is this just, it's all a big test, or it's all a big lesson? And all of this is just like dream material, but there's some real stuff. So if that's the situation that we all find ourselves in, is there a fundamental difference because I have bills to pay and children's mouths to feed? Well, now we have to differentiate what's real and what's not real. I think the kids are real, so I think people are real. I don't know. I don't think the bills are real. I don't think the money's real. So much of it is chasing after our tails. So, yeah, I think, like, if we're chasing a little bug and then, it's going to go in front of a train, there's a natural instinct to pull back. If we did give up, like, all of this game that everyone's playing, I think that we would be guided by this inner instinct. And I think the only reason why we have to play this game is because everyone's playing it. As soon as, like, if we reach a critical mass where people, you know what, we're just not going to do this anymore, then it wouldn't function, and then the little illusion would be over. So, yeah, I mean, I think that I would be really interested to hear your podcast when you try that. I tried that in my 20s, and it always worked out. But I guess I did still go to work. But
yes,
it's not that we're going to abandon all responsibility and just blow with the breeze. But we know that going to work is part of training your muscles. You're training your eternal attributes. So I think it's a fascinating conversation.
Yes. Now, I'm not saying sit and watch TV all day. No, I wasn't saying that.
Or like sit on the beach and just have the beach in the background.
How bored can you get? I'm saying, like, doing whatever you'd love to do, like writing all these podcasts or whatever, and just creating, but listening to your intuition, listening to God speaking through you, and just moving with source or the divine, whatever you want to call it, with moving with that energy and living that life and being the change. Because then once people see that you can have a better life, then you become an example, right? And then we realize that we don't have to chase things anymore. Things should be coming to us. Just a thought.
Yeah, what do you reckon, Devin?
It's called flow. Isn't that the flow state? Where you're just kind of in the zone, and you're just like in sync with everything, material and immaterial. It's just all kind of like, you're like kind of like channeling it.
Yes, yes.
And people notice people that are in the flow. And even in sports, you could just tell they're just kind of a level above certain players when they get in that zone. And the best players are the ones that are able to get in that zone on a more frequent basis.
I know, it's so cool. So maybe that's a podcast and that's an experiment to do, to actually keep in that flow. Because you can, like stay in that flow for a bit. But what about living in the flow every day? That would be pretty cool, actually. Huh.
Yeah. Like, how would you
That's worth
make
experimenting or
decisions?
worth looking into. Okay, we're going right off topic. Let me come back again. And that's the problem with these. We just go into this philosophical, spiritual kind of realm, which is such a beautiful place to be.
That's my sweet spot.
So
That's my happy place right there.
I know, right? It just feels so right, and you can just continue the conversation. But let me take you back. Let's come back for a moment because I know that the two of you are working on a very cool project, and I don't know if it's about taking freedom to a next level, or tell me a bit about it.
Yeah, so I'll open it up, Devin, and then I'd love to hear your perspective too, because it's exactly what you said. I'm going to open it up with what you said. It's in seeing these things through new perspectives that I think real power comes. So what it is a Japanese art called Kintsugi, where you smash a piece of pottery and then you piece it back together with gold or platinum or silver. And so what it's doing is saying that you can shift your perspective to see even the shattering times in our lives, even the hard mental health experiences, even when life presents you chaos, there can be a post-traumatic growth that comes out of that. We can come out better after those experiences through the power of alchemical, metaphysical gold. So if we think about just a regular pottery bowl, and this is a workshop that Devin and I do, we've done 2 of them, I've done 3 of them, and we've done it for large groups of people, and it's always pretty profound. People will take a piece of pottery and then smash that thing, and the finished product takes work, it takes diligence, it takes listening to the intuition, it takes putting the pieces back together, but the final result is not only more interesting than the first one, it's unique, it's one of a kind, and it's also more valuable too if it's fused together with gold. So it's a testament to how the tough things that we go through, even the shaping events that you're describing, Carina, they can really be things that enrich our lives instead of just a tragedy to mourn. So what do you reckon, Devin? I really like your take on Wabi-Sabi and how Kinsugi fits into a larger perspective.
Okay. Yeah, in terms of Kintsugi, I must tell you that it is, for me, it is a different perspective in itself that makes sense. And it's perspective that kind of goes against the grain. For instance, like, so it comes from Japan, and then which came from this philosophy called Wabi-Sabi. And Wabi-Sabi is basically the older something gets, the more beautiful it gets. So instead of having brand new teacups, put in your house every 5 years, or plates that they're old and they don't look very good. Wabi-Sabi is you keep these and you use them, and because you use them, they're in that usefulness. It's beautiful, and there's a symbolism that as you grow older, instead of it getting uglier and more worn down, it actually is more important, because there's certain things that about these plates that no other plate can do what that one does, and there's no need to replace it. And so Kinsugi, what it does, it takes something that's broken, and instead of it's broken, let's just throw it away. No. You can put it back together, and it could look different. It could look beautiful, and it could show the cracks, like that. Those cracks are something not to be ashamed of. So a person not to be ashamed of their flaws, not to be ashamed of things that happened in the past, and wanting to hide them. And wanting to try to be perfect, wanting to try to look so good on the outside. And so what it is, the experience is for people that do Kintsugi, it's like inside it like opens up something. It's like, okay, I'm safe to be transparent now. It's okay for me to show that I have flaws. I don't need to hide them. even just for a little bit, to have that experience. And then, where's my bowl? Then you can bring your little bowl home, and it can. It reminds you of this important kind of philosophy. So it's an experience, but it's also a reminder.
Yeah, bro.
I love that. That's very cool because a lot of times we get these insights and it's great for a bit, and then suddenly we find ourselves sliding back. So that's perfect to have that reminder all the time about what is really important. And another thing I was thinking about as you guys were speaking about is how you find it's almost like finding the blessings within the fear. I mean, which is a lot that we talk about on the show. And that's beautiful on its own. So tell me a bit about how this came about. Like, how did you decide to do this project together?
So I have been, for Interfaith and the County of San Diego, I've been doing something called the faith-based mental health training for probably 5-7 years or something like that, where we basically train psychologists in the power of faith, and we train faith leaders in the power of mental health and psychology. And it was actually Joyce Brueggemann, who was the director of survivors of suicide loss just a little while ago, who introduced me to the concept of Kinsugi. And as soon as she did, I was like, that's it. That's exactly what I've experienced in my own life. But she put a name to it, and she put a culture to it. And so Joyce and I guided the first Kintsugi workshop at the Interfaith Change Your Mind event. But then she was gone for the next one. And so Devin and I collaborated on the next one. And we just work so well together, and like we really very much share probably not only a spiritual philosophy, but like a part of a soul. Like maybe you've got like my right arm, dude, and I got your left arm or something. But we just really literally jam out well together. Like we jammed out at that interfaith thing, and he brought his ukulele and I brought my guitar, and we're singing about the hero's journey. And I just felt that God was calling us to bring this kind of a message to the world, to bring this kind of experience to the world. And it was sitting on my website for ages, and I didn't really think much about it. And then people started hitting me up about it just recently. And so I'm like, all right, come on, Lord, the time is ripe. And so we've enhanced it. Now it's, I think, magnificent. I think it's one of the best workshops and trainings that we do. And we just guided a training for 70 county employees the other day. And it went fantastically. And so I think that this is something that the world needs. It's something that we can bring to the table. And just the power of both of our lived experience. I mean, especially Devin's. We're not just talking theory. Like, this is actually our life. This is exactly what we've experienced. And the final thing I'll say about it, and then maybe I'll turn it over to you, Devin, if you wanted to add anything, is that we bring in the spiritual journey as well. We talk about the hero's journey as taken by both Jesus and Buddha. That suffering and being on the edge of yourself is a part of the spiritual journey. Every time we reach the edge of ourself, we have an opportunity to encounter other, and that's how we expand. And so I really like how it fuses the worlds of psychology and spirituality together. What do you reckon, dude?
Yeah, I just want to say the healing aspect of it is for people such as myself, that when they look at competition in the world, when they look at how our Western society things need to look so good on the outside, but there's some people that's like wanted to go deeper than that, but maybe that pressure has been so much in the past, it's been discouraging. But Kinsugi, it's the opposite of that. It's as something gets older, it gets more beautiful. So instead of wanting to always compete, wanting to be the best and wanting to look good on the outside, the looking good, it actually comes from the inside. And that so we put gold. Kintsugi means to join with gold. We put gold to put the bowls back together. So that gold is an inner. It's amazing. It's an inner. When you really do the experience, you don't associate that gold with outer, money and things that look really nice, but you associate it with on the inside, and with things that we have in our heart and that we value. And it's like like you said, when I have my bowl, it's a reminder. It's a reminder of my heart. My heart may get broken again and again, but it can also get bigger. The last thing, come on, what is it? Okay, it says in Proverbs, it says that crying is actually better than laughter. It says it might blotch your face, but it scores your heart. So it makes more room in your heart for more gold. I mean, when we cry.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful.
I love that. That is beautiful. Thank you, Devin, and thank you, Josh. And as you were speaking, I was thinking about how we so consumed and conditioned to be perfect in life.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I can't do this because I'm not perfect. I can't take this video because, hey, look what my hair looks like, or look at my face, or I'm not pretty enough, or I'm not intelligent enough, and this isn't perfect. Whatever. You know, we know the stories. And this is so beautiful because then we realize that that's what makes us so unique, and that's what makes us so beautiful and magical is our imperfections.
Yeah.
And that on its own is an amazing thing to be able to say, oh, you know what, it's okay. I'm imperfect, but it's okay. I'm beautiful anyway. So thank you for that. That is really beautiful. And as you were speaking, I remember actually was it one of your, I think it was the Interfaith event last year where you did a little demonstration of this, and it's such a beautiful experience.
Yeah, you were there. That's right. You were there.
I was.
That was my birthday. Yeah, that was my birthday last year.
That was your birthday last year. Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah,
okay.
It's coming up again, by the way. Interfaith Festival on May 11th in Oceanside Pier. I'm going to have a table. I'm the expert on neurodiversity. So it's like, ask the expert. I'll just be chilling at my table and people come and talk to me about neurodiversity. How cool is that?
That is very cool. That is so cool. Maybe it would be a good idea for me to come as Break Fear Find Freedom, and we could do an interview just ad hoc with some people. That could be cool.
There'll be a lot of really interesting people, I would think.
I'd say.
Yeah.
So tell me, now we've really whet everyone's appetite. When's the next one, and where can people find you? And is it in person? Do you do it online? Tell us a bit about logistics.
We do it online and we do it in person. It works best in groups if you want the actual experience, but you can also do it individually. If you do it individually, then we have like a little guide that can walk you through it. So people can go to Inspired Mind Mental Health. Let me point to it. InspiredMindMentalHealth.com, and you'll go to company trainings, and then there'll be a Kintsugi thing, and then you can select either as an individual. And we have these amazing boxes, these like wooden chests that open up, and there's like hidden messages everywhere and stuff. And like I really liked how Devin was saying that he looks at his bowl, it's sitting right there on the counter as a reminder. So what we even include in that is a little sunflower seed in a glass bottle, because you can turn that into a pot plant. You can grow something new from the pain, right? Yeah. So like,
I love it. So the growth comes in, and then I'm going to switch it off to Break Fear Find Freedom, because as you break that fear and you realize that perfection is an illusion, and it's a lie, right?
Yeah.
You can see the growth, or your growth, coming through. Wow, that's so clever. I love the symbolism. Beautiful.
I think life is symbolic, and I think like the perfection thing that you're talking on is really important. Like, I facilitate neurodiversity gifts groups. So this morning I just did 2 of them, and almost everyone is talking about how this idea of perfection had held them back in life. We were talking about creativity, and as soon as you try to do things perfectly, it stops. You lose that creative spark. Yes. Perfection is boring, man. Like, who wants to be perfect? You want to be photoshopped? That's lame. That's not even real. What makes us beautiful is our humanness. It reminds me of like the Velveteen Rabbit. The story, he was like talking to this new toy, and the Velveteen Rabbit's like ear is falling off, and he's like missing half of his fur and stuff because he's been played with so much. That's Wabi-Sabi right there. It's actually, you become a real rabbit, he says, when you're worn out, when you're worn down, when you've been loved so much, or like held so much by the world and pushed around so much by the world, that you have character, that you have uniqueness. So yeah, I think the perfectionism thing needs to go. It's like just a game. Like I don't dig these games that like everyone's playing. And so this is one of the experiences that people can kind of do it within community. So it can be done by companies, or it can be done by groups of friends and people, or it can be done individually. And we can find a new kind of game to play, a game of artistic creation and the art of making the broken beautiful. So yeah, if you guys want to check it out, please do.
That's very cool. And of course, we'll have all the details in the, we'll have it in the pinned comments and in the description box.
Thank you.
This is beautiful, and people need to come out and realize how beautiful they are, because I think with all the conditioning and with everything that's going on in society and all the craziness, I think people are so scared. Just realize that you're beautiful, you know what, and you're worth it. So this could be a good start. Could be a perfect place to begin, right?
I like that. The end is the beginning. The end of something else is the beginning of something else.
Yes. And that's perfect for you to say, Josh, because you were talking about ending, like selling your property, and it's ending, and it's now beautiful. Like there's just endless possibilities, like it is every day, like just magical miracles, right?
Yeah, and all of those miracles involve letting go of something and grabbing onto something else. It's like, I mean, this works in every arena. It works in physicality. Like walking is just a series of coordinated falls. You catch yourself. You fall, and then you catch yourself. You fall, and then you catch yourself. Forward progress is just a series of falling forward. It works in the spiritual understanding too. You've got to let go of the old conception of God you had, like you were talking about, Devin, to grab something broader and more enriching. The tradition at the time had to let go of what they expected the Messiah to be, because when he rocked up and he wasn't perfect, they were like, "Hey, where's our like knight on white shining armor on a horse?" Because reality, the author of reality itself, made things so that they defy expectations. So it works psychologically too. It's like if we are willing to let go of our old mindsets, our old identities, if we're willing to step into something new through the power of community, well, then the world is our oyster, and the world is our playground instead of this thing we have to check all the boxes to do. So that's what I love about your podcast and just your life. I mean, you're a living testimony to the story. You find yourself there at an amazingly still Carlsbad Beach. I don't know how the water's so beautifully still behind you, but you've come from such a different world, and you've really lived that. You've lived literally being like trapped and then breaking that to find the freedom. And so it's encouraging to me to hear, and it's encouraging, I'm sure, to your audience. So Carina, you are the break fear, find freedom person, and respect to you.
Well, thank you, Josh. Yes, so you break fear, like you said, break fear every day, and that freedom tastes so good. Even if it's just for a little taste for a bit, and then something else hits you, it doesn't matter. So thank you.
I was going to say, like when Devin was showing his bowl, actually, when you drop them, because you did, remember Devin, like last year on the way to the workshop, you dropped the bowl as you were coming in, and it smashed in a new place. After you've joined it, it won't break in the same place. It's the same with surfboards. Like if you've snapped your board and then you repair it, the surfboard won't snap in that same repair place typically, or snap somewhere else. It becomes the strongest place in it. The places where we've been broken, where we've been fractured, are now the most resilient and robust places. So I like that as well.
Yes.
What do you think, Devin? There's a hole in yours, dude. Look on the side there. It lets the light in.
Yeah, this one, I wasn't even able to find that piece, so it's got a little hole in it. Because sometimes when you shatter something, like other people, it's amazing. Like they hit the thing so hard that there's pieces that just go to other all over the place. And but I was gonna say to what Carina was saying about how when we are so beautiful, but in order for us to go from being stuck in one mindset over to having a new perspective, we have to get to the point where we got to accept, like literally accept that I'm beautiful, like that accept, like, and that's not just like a logical thing right here. It's a heart thing. When you can accept that you even though everybody's got this and got that, and you've judged yourself in the past for these things. How do you get out of those judgments to accept that you're beautiful, accept that you're worth it, accept that your bowl it cannot be any better than how it is. There's nothing that you can do to improve or take away how it is right now. And when we have that acceptance, that's powerful. That's when you could really do the transformation. That's when you can really kind of not look at those mindsets that we've been stuck in and then say, you know what, I think I want to choose a different way of looking at it. I'm ready to choose it. I have the ability to choose a new perspective. And doing the Kinsugi, it reminds you of that, but also it's like it's like exercising, and this is helping you warm up for the real exercise. But getting your mind thinking in terms of accepting, and then once you accept it, then I could grow. But I can't do any of this until I accept it.
Well said, man. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
sometimes the pieces will still be missing. Like, we're not trying to get back the original object. It's going to be different. But Rumi says the wound is where the light gets in. So to switch from the wound is where the light gets in. So it might not be the best pot plant because the water will drain right out, but there's always ways that you can you can make a plan. Like, and that's going to be probably the coolest one in your establishment if you manage to figure out a way to kind of invent a way to maintain that moisture in there. So well said, dude.
Yes, thank you. I mean, and also, as you're saying, Devin, as you grow and learn, you change anyway. So you aren't that same person. So if I'm sure, if I think about even when I got here, like 7 years ago, I'm not that same person that I was then, that I am now. And I mean, every day we change and grow. So you have to have that, putting that back together. And if there's pieces missing, it's maybe those pieces were meant to leave at that time, to make something more beautiful. So I love that. Okay, so when's your next? You're going to have, people can do it. It's self-paced, right? So people can come onto your website and just do it whenever if they want to do it online, right? Is that what I understood?
Yeah, I mean, there's two basic options. www.inspiredmindmentalhealth.com/Kinsugi, and that's KINTSUGI. So there's the individual one. You can just buy it. It's like $55 for the kit, and then it comes with the instructions and the little bottles and the gold and all of that kind of stuff. And so you can do it by yourself, or you could buy it for you and your friends. But if you want to host an event, well, we have different tiers of pricing for like company trainings, or for a group of friends wanted to get together and do it. And Devin and I come out there. We can do those both in person and online. So we don't have like set times. We just set those up whenever an organization wants to. And the pricing is structured so that we can give just a presentation, which is the most affordable option. We can do like a silver package, we say, where it's not all the fancy equipment, but it still gives you the Kintsugi experience. And then we have the gold package, which is the whole shebang. And so that's also tiered based on how many people you have. Like if it's over 200 people, then it'll be like $50-something. But if it's only like one person, then it's like $115 or something like that. So we've tried to work it out like that. But it's really, all of it's flexible. This is all just, us dancing with life and trying to bring this message to the world and trying to create something that we think is valuable. Because like Gandhi says, which he was educated in South Africa, I don't know if you know that, Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. And this is the change that we want to see in the world.
Yes, I love that. That's one of my favorite quotes, because it's all very well to point fingers at everyone and say, the government, this, that, the other, looks what's happening to the environment, I can't do anything. Meanwhile, if you start looking at yourself and changing yourself, your environment changes anyway. So I love that. Thank you. Devin, is there anything else you want to say?
No, I've got a similar quote that I've used. Is basically saying the same thing, but using different order. It's the way you see yourself determines how you see everything else. So it's like, or their reflection. The way you see the way you see others is a reflection of how you see yourself. Yes. So if we want to change the things that we see, then we got to change ourselves.
Yes, I love that.
100%.
Thank you. What about Josh? Anything else before we go?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a year since we did our Aslan's Way event. Just huge thanks to you for all the work you put into that. I thought it was really special, and it was actually the birth of something. We kind of sensed it, and it was also very different than we expected, right? But it's really turned into something that I think is profound. So, like, we have these bi-weekly online gatherings called Aslan's Way. It's one of the most authentic spaces where we talk about this kind of stuff. Anyone's welcome to join. It's free. You can go to azlanzway.com, AZLANZ way.com. And it's talking about this process of Kintsugi, this psychological and spiritual alchemy that can happen through our lives. So I just wanted to thank you for being there at the birth of this by pouring your wisdom and your perspective into that event. And other things have come out of the event as well, like really interesting connections, really interesting pathways opening up. So I think that the work that you're doing is the change that I want to see in the world. I think it's no accident that all three of our paths aligned. Like, guys, we are the world. Like, we are society. All of you guys listening. Margaret Mead, this will be the last quote that I drop, but Margaret Mead said, don't doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Like, we can really, so I don't know if we can unsubscribe from society's games. I'd like to, I will click unsubscribe. But if not, we can, an amount of critical mass in the 100th monkey theory, when enough people start waking up to life can be different, as soon as we all agree that it can be different, then that's a world that I want to raise my kids in. So yeah, thank the both of you for the synergy. I always love our collaborations.
Yes. Thank you. That's okay. As I said again, as you change yourself, your world changes, and I've experienced it. I mean, just before we go, just like a simple thing. If you're walking in the street and you're smiling, everyone's smiling back at you. If you're walking in the street looking at your phone and frowning, suddenly everyone's going to just be horrible, and life is not so fun. And do you know what? At the end of the day, we decide, right?
To smile, because when you smile, the whole world smiles at you.
I know.
I can do that at the same time. I got to do the perfect smile. Oh, there's no such thing as a perfect smile. That's okay.
Yes, very funny. Well, this was awesome as usual. We'll have to do another one. Just maybe as I'm thinking, we haven't spoken about anything else that you're thinking about that might give you freedom in the future, Devin, just before we go?
Like,
I don't know. I'm just throwing it at you as I do, and maybe you need to think about it. What about Josh?
like I just things like with fear. Is it? Do you want me to give like a certain circumstance or just like certain?
No, anything with freedom, like anything that you're thinking about in the future that will bring you more freedom.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that would be, I guess, finding better ways to exercise. Getting that runner's high. Find better ways to get that when I'm physically exercised. Keep trying to go to do a better one. Whether it's sports or whether working out or like even when you're doing weights, that you're looking for that one like amazing set. Like this could be like the one that's gonna like make me feel like amazing again. Like this has to do with exercise and how that exercise puts you into a different mindset. That's one way to get out of the mindset. Get into a new way of thinking is through exercise. And in the process, like this could be it. This could be the exercise that's going to be the game changer for me. So that's that. So my answer would be how looking forward to exercise rather than looking forward to the fear. Looking forward to exercising myself out of the fear. How's that? Exercising myself out.
I love that, and I saw that you mentioned in one of our other episodes how you play. You're quite the pickleball pro as well, right?
Yeah, I contacted them. They talked to me back. Those that were on your show. Yes.
That's the pickleball power couple. They They're doing pretty well. Yes, they were at the US Open last week. Going to actually do a follow-up of them too. So yes, kudos to you for that, Devin.
Thanks.
What about you, Josh?
Yeah, firstly, I think that exercise is an ideal way to put yourself in a flow state. So it's cool that you're doing that. Yeah, I still feel trapped or fearful about time. Like, I don't dig this whole linear time thing. And so every day I'm like, maybe I should stop wearing a watch, but I feel so rushed. I feel so rushed all the time. And so I'm trying to find a different way to understand time. I know that the Greeks have two words for time, chronos, but also kairos, opportunity time. So it seems to me like an opportunity to find a kind of freedom from that is coming into my path. A group of us are looking to start a version of a soteria house, which means salvation house, in San Diego. It's a place for peers with mental health experiences to come together and step into a different way of being in the world, to support each other with something much richer, much deeper than the traditional psychiatric system. And this is going to be a Jesus-lit soteria house. And so it's going to be based on full-on rich mystical experience of the spiritual dimension, art, music, a different conception of entrepreneurship, creating these little even, like capitalism 2.0 ecosystems. And so we're looking to do the first one down south in Chula Vista. And I'm excited to see the kind of freedom we'll be able to tap into when we're living in community like I think we're supposed to do. And we're not so confined by the tick-tock of the clock and having to be at certain places and having to wear the ties and all that. So we'll see. We'll see what God unravels in the path ahead of us. I'm talking to someone, a few people at 5 o'clock today about that. So let's see where that is in a year's time. These are the kinds of things that do ignite my fire. It's exciting for me. And what about you, Carina? What could help you find more freedom in the future?
Yes, that's pretty cool. I'm looking at. I'm working on a project with homeless as well. We also a lot with unleash the phoenix within, right? So that's one of my passion projects at the moment. So we'll see where that goes. It's just things just start coming into your space, and it's just like, oh, let's just flow with it and see where it goes. So it's actually a beautiful time to be alive, right?
Sure is. Difficult, but beautiful.
Yes, I know, but that's what makes life exciting. We'll find the blessings in all those difficulties and move on. What else can we do?
That's right. It's like my daughters, they don't actually like movies where there's no bad guy or no like dangerous situation. Like you think a kid would just like all happy rainbows and butterflies. They don't. They actually want the difficulty. They want to see the hero overcome the challenge. So maybe we're writing this, or I don't know, God's writing it for us. But I guess difficulties are part of the story. Without them, there wouldn't be any story.
Yes. I think, you know what, if everything was so, I know with myself, if everything was so smooth, I'd probably find something to break it because I'd get bored. That sounds terrible as I say it. So
maybe we should become more comfortable with boredom then. Oh, life will just fall into place.
It's terrible, but you know what I'm saying. You know, we need to be grow. What I'm saying is that we need to challenge ourselves and grow all the time. You know, not break things.
A little bit of breaking can be good as long as you fuse it back together with gold.
With gold, yes. That's perfect. Thank you so much, guys. It's been beautiful. It's been so awesome having you here again. And I love these three-way conversations. We should do them more often. It's just so exciting to play tennis or pickleball. I still haven't played pickleball. So thank you for being here. And I'll have all the details, everyone, if you want to go and try this out. It's an amazing process. And who knows, we might play some games or do something different soon within the podcast. Who knows? So watch the space. There's always something exciting happening. Thank you so much. See you all soon. And thank you, Josh. Thank you, Devin. We'll see you all.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Carina.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.